The great chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with noise. Hundreds of alien species sat in their seats talking and arguing with each other. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like floating clouds of gas. At the center of it all stood Day, the human ambassador. He wore a simple black suit and watched everything with calm eyes. The Valkyrian representative slammed his clawed hand on the speaking platform. His name was Overlord Thex, and he was huge, covered in dark red scales that looked like armor. His yellow eyes burned with anger and pride. "The Valkyrian Empire has made its decision," Thex announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "We will take human space for ourselves. Their worlds will become ours. Their resources will feed our empire." Gasps filled the room. Some aliens looked shocked. Others looked excited. A few looked worried. Day stepped forward slowly. "Overlord Thex, humanity has never done anything against your empire. We have lived in peace for 200 years. Why would you attack us?" Thex laughed. It was a horrible sound, like rocks grinding together. "Peace, you mean weakness. We have studied your species, human. You have no weapons. No armies, no wars. You are soft. You will break easily." The council leader, a tall being made of crystal, tried to speak. "Perhaps we should discuss this matter more carefully. War is a serious thing." "There is nothing to discuss," Thex said. "My fleet of 500 warships is already moving toward human space. In 3 weeks your colonies will fall. In 2 months Earth itself will belong to us." Day looked at the other council members. He saw the peaceful species looking down at their desks. They would not help. The warrior species were smiling. They thought this would be entertaining. The old ancient species just watched with dark eyes that seemed to know something others did not. "I request 48 hours to prepare diplomatic responses," Day said quietly. "Denied," Thex roared. "We leave for human space now. Say goodbye to your people, human. Tell them to surrender quickly, and we might let some of them live as slaves." The chamber erupted in noise again. Some aliens cheered. Some whispered to each other. Some simply watched. Day touched a small device on his wrist. It looked like a watch, but it was much more. He pressed 3 buttons in a specific pattern. Far away on Earth and on human ships across the galaxy, computers received his message. 2 words appeared on millions of screens. Protocol Reaper. Hana was the director of Earth's military intelligence. She sat in a dark room filled with screens and hologram displays. When she saw Day's message, she smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had been preparing for this moment for a very long time. "All units," she said into her communicator. "Begin activation sequence. Remove all false signatures. Bring online all hidden systems. The galaxy wanted to see humanity. Let them see." Back in the council chamber, Day bowed slightly to Overlord Thex. "I hope you have said goodbye to your own people, Overlord. Because you have just made the biggest mistake in your empire's history." Thex laughed again. "Threat? From a human? Your species plays games with words because you have no weapons to play games with." An old alien approached Day as the session ended. He was Vorlon, from one of the oldest species in the galaxy. His skin was wrinkled and gray, and his eyes were wise and sad. "Young human," the Vorlon said quietly so only Day could hear, "I have studied your species' history, all of it. Not just the last 200 years of peace. I have read about your wars, your weapons, your way of thinking. The Valkyrians have only seen your peace. They have not seen what created that peace." Day looked at the old alien. "What are you trying to say?" "I am trying to say that the Valkyrians have made a grave error. Your people did not choose peace because you are weak. You chose peace because you know the true cost of war, and that makes you the most dangerous species in this galaxy. You seem to understand us better than most," Dee said. The Vorlon nodded slowly. "I understand you because my people made the same mistake once long ago. We attacked a species we thought was weak. We were wrong. We learned. The Valkyrians will learn too, but the lesson will cost them dearly." "What happened to the species your people attacked?" Day asked. "They forgave us, eventually, after they destroyed half our fleet and made it clear they could have destroyed it all. That species taught us that mercy is not weakness. It is the ultimate show of strength. I hope your people remember that lesson in the days ahead." Day smiled sadly. "We will try." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Yuna stood on the bridge of her ship, the Indomitable. Everyone called it a diplomatic vessel. It had beautiful curved lines and bright white paint, but now panels were sliding open all over the hull. Weapon batteries emerged. Shield generators powered up. The entire ship transformed in minutes. Status report, Yuna commanded. All weapons online, Captain, her weapons officer reported. Railguns charged. Missile tubes loaded. Point defense systems active. Stealth generators ready. Good, Yuna said. She looked at the stars ahead. The Valkyrian fleet would pass through this sector in 2 days. They would not be expecting what waited for them. Prepare to receive coordinates for the rest of the fleet. We are about to have company, and they are not going to like the welcome party. Far away, in a secret base hidden inside an asteroid field, Admiral Tay watched his screens. Ships appeared one by one as they dropped their stealth fields. 50 ships, 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000. They had been hiding for decades, waiting for a moment that everyone hoped would never come. All ships report ready, Admiral, his second-in-command said. Excellent, Tay replied. The Valkyrians think they are hunting sheep. They are about to learn they have walked into a wolf's den. Maintain stealth until I give the word. Let them come deep into our space. Let them think they are winning. And then we show them what humanity really is. The Valkyrian fleet moved through space confident and proud. Overlord Thek sat on his command throne watching the stars. In 3 weeks, he thought, I will be the conqueror of humanity. I will be remembered forever. He had no idea how right he was. He would be remembered forever, but not as a conqueror. He would be remembered as the fool who woke the sleeping giant, who attacked the one species in the galaxy that had spent 2 centuries preparing for exactly this moment. The countdown had begun. War was coming, and the galaxy was about to learn why you never attack humanity. The meeting room on Earth was underground, built deep beneath the military headquarters. The walls were made of thick metal and the air felt cold. Around a large table sat the most important people in human military and government. Their faces were serious but not afraid. Admiral Tay sat at the head of the table. He was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had spent his entire career preparing for this day. Next to him sat Rena, the chief of special operations. She was younger, with quick hands that never stopped moving. Across from them was Hyun, the lead scientist of something called the Genesis Project. He wore thick glasses and looked tired, but his eyes were bright with intelligence. The Valkyrians have made their move, Tay said. They think they know us. They have watched us for years. They have seen our peaceful cities, our trade ships, our diplomatic missions. They think we are weak. They are idiots, Rena said simply. Yes, Tay agreed, but they are dangerous idiots with 500 warships. We need to respond carefully, not just to beat them, but to send a message to the entire galaxy. Yun adjusted his glasses. All Genesis Project weapons are ready. We have been testing them in secret for 50 years. The particle beams work perfectly. The antimatter missiles are stable. The singularity cannons can punch through any known shield in the galaxy. A younger officer spoke up. His name was Wu, and he commanded the automated defense network. Sir, should we activate all the defense platforms? We have 3,000 of them hidden throughout human space. Not yet, Tay said. Let the Valkyrians come deeper. Let them think they are winning. Then we spring the trap. Everyone in the room understood. This was not just about winning a war. This was about making sure no one ever attacked humanity again. In orbit above Earth, shipyards that looked like civilian factories suddenly changed. Walls opened. Hidden construction bays revealed warships that had been built in secret. Ships that looked like cargo vessels split apart, showing weapons inside. In just 6 hours, Earth's orbit went from having 50 visible military ships to having 500. On a distant space station, mechanics worked quickly. They removed fake panels from ships. They attached weapons that had been stored in hidden compartments. A luxury passenger liner called the Morning Star transformed into a battle cruiser, bristling with railguns and missile pods. All across human space, the same thing was happening. Humanity had spent 200 years building a massive military force while pretending to be peaceful. Every cargo ship could become a fighter carrier. Every space station had hidden weapon batteries. Every colony had underground bunkers filled with soldiers and equipment. It was the greatest deception in galactic history, and the Valkyrians had fallen for it completely. Captain Yuna watched her crew work on the bridge of the Indomitable. The ship no longer looked like a diplomatic vessel. Now it looked like what it really was, a weapon designed to kill other ships. Captain, we are receiving data from the scout drones, her sensor officer said. The Valkyrian vanguard is approaching the outer colonies. 20 ships in the first wave, only 20. Una smiled. They are being careful. Good, let them be careful. Let them scan the colonies and see light defenses. Let them think this will be easy. What about the colonists on New Jeju? Someone asked. Should we evacuate them? The colonists knew this day might come, Una said. They are already in the underground shelters. Those shelters can survive a direct nuclear hit. The colonists will be fine. The Valkyrians will not. Far away on the planet New Jeju, families climbed down into the deep shelters. Children carried toys. Parents carried food and water. Everyone was calm. They had practiced this drill 100 times. The colony looked empty from space now, as if everyone had run away in fear. The Valkyrian Vanguard commander looked at his screens and smiled. The colony is abandoned. The humans ran like cowards. This will be easier than we thought. His ships moved closer to the planet. They prepared to land troops and claim the colony as Valkyrian property. They never saw the stealth ships until it was too late. 400 human warships appeared out of nowhere. One moment space was empty. The next moment it was filled with ships that had been hiding, invisible, waiting. The Valkyrian ships tried to turn, tried to run, tried to fight. It did not matter. Human railguns fired solid metal slugs at a fraction of the speed of light. Valkyrian shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did almost nothing against solid projectiles moving that fast. Ships exploded. Hulls tore open. Crews died before they could even send a warning. In 3 minutes, all 20 Valkyrian ships were destroyed or crippled. Not a single human ship was damaged. Rena watched the battle from Earth on her screens. Send a message to their fleet command. Tell them this: you came to kill us. We are giving you one chance to leave. If you continue, we will show you no mercy. This is your only warning. Overlord Thex received the message on his flagship. He roared in anger. Impossible. Humans have no military. This must be a trick, some kind of illusion. His second-in-command looked worried. Sir, we just lost 20 ships in 3 minutes. Whatever this is, it is not an illusion. Then we send more ships, Thex shouted. 100 this time. Crush them. The second wave of Valkyrian ships moved forward. They were more careful this time, shields at maximum, weapons ready. They found nothing. No human ships, no defenses, just empty space. Then missiles came from every direction at once, thousands of them. They were small, fast, and smart. They dodged and weaved through defensive fire. Half of them were destroyed, but half was enough. 60 Valkyrian ships died in the second attack. Admiral Tay watched from his command center and shook his head. They are not learning. Send in the heavy units. Let them see what we have been building. Dreadnoughts appeared. These were massive ships, bigger than anything the Valkyrians had. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. There were 50 of them, and they had been hidden in deep space for decades. The Valkyrian fleet saw them on their scanners and panicked. These were not light defense ships. These were weapons of war built by a species that understood war better than any other. Sir, they are retreating. An officer reported to Tay. Let them run, Tay said. Let them tell their overlord what they saw. Let the fear spread through their fleet. Fear is a weapon too. Overlord Thex received the reports. 20 ships lost. Then 60 more. Then the dreadnoughts appeared. His invasion force was being destroyed before it even reached human territory. This is impossible, he muttered. All the intelligence said they had no military. All the reports said they were peaceful. They lied, his advisor said quietly. Or we saw what we wanted to see. Either way, we have made a terrible mistake. We are Valkyrians, Thex roared. We do not retreat. We do not surrender. Send everything. All 500 ships. Crush them with our full might. His advisor looked at him with sad eyes. The advisor knew the truth that Thex refused to see. They had not attacked a weak species. They had attacked a species that had been preparing for this fight for 200 years. Humanity had spent centuries fighting itself, learning how to wage war. Then they stopped fighting and made peace. But they did not forget how to fight. They just got better at it. They planned. They prepared. They built weapons in secret and waited. And now the Valkyrians had given them a reason to reveal everything. The galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson. Peace is not weakness. Sometimes peace is just a predator waiting to see if it needs to hunt. The Galactic Council chamber was silent for the first time in centuries. Every member stared at the massive holographic display in the center of the room. It showed the battle happening in human space. transmitted in real time by news drones and observation satellites. The peaceful species looked horrified. The warrior species looked shocked. The ancient species looked like they had expected this. Ambassador Day stood calmly at his station, watching the same display. His face showed no emotion, but inside he felt sad. Sad that this was necessary. Sad that the Valkyrians had not listened. Overlord Thex had sent his entire fleet into human space. 500 warships all moving together in a massive formation. It looked unstoppable. It looked like certain victory. Then the humans revealed their full strength. Ships appeared everywhere. Not hundreds, thousands. 2,000 human warships dropped their stealth fields all at once. The Valkyrian fleet was suddenly surrounded. A council member from a peaceful species gasped. Where did they all come from? How did we not know? Day spoke quietly, but everyone could hear him in the silent chamber. You did not ask. You assumed. You saw our peace and thought it meant weakness. We never said we had no military. You just never looked hard enough. The battle began, and it was not really a battle. It was a demonstration. Commander Nari sat in her command center on Earth coordinating the attack. She was young but brilliant, trained since childhood in military tactics. Screens surrounded her, showing every human ship, every Valkyrian ship, every movement. Group Alpha, attack formation Beta 7, she ordered calmly. Group Beta, flanking position. Group Gamma, reserve and support, execute. The human ships moved like they were dancing. Every movement was precise. Every shot was calculated. They had trained for this for decades, running simulations of fighting every known species in the galaxy. The Valkyrians fought bravely. They fired their weapons. They tried their tactics, but it was like children fighting trained soldiers. Human railguns fired from beyond Valkyrian weapons range. Human missiles dodged and weaved through defensive fire with impossible precision. Human shields absorbed hits that should have destroyed them. In the council chamber, a military species member finally spoke. His name was Commander Vrax, a Valkyrian officer who had been serving as a military liaison to the council. His voice shook. They are using our own tactics against us. Every move we make, they counter it before we finish. It is like they know what we are going to do before we do it. They probably do, said the old Vorlon elder. Humans have been studying warfare for thousands of years. They have fought more wars among themselves than most species fight in their entire history. Then they studied every species in the galaxy. They know how we all fight. We know nothing about how they fight. On the battlefield, pilot Jin flew his fighter through the chaos. His ship was small but incredibly fast. Valkyrian guns tried to track him but could not keep up. He flew straight at a Valkyrian cruiser, fired 6 missiles and spun away. All 6 missiles hit. The cruiser's engines exploded. Target destroyed, Jin reported calmly. Moving to next target, his squadron followed him. 12 human fighters attacked a Valkyrian battleship. The battleship was huge, covered in armor and weapons. But the fighters were too fast, too smart. They hit weak points with precision. In 2 minutes, the battleship was dead in space. Back on Earth, Suki was preparing to address the council. She was a diplomat, but today she had a different job. Today she was going to tell the galaxy the truth about humanity. She appeared as a hologram in the council chamber. Honored council members, she began. I see the shock on your faces. I see the fear. You wonder how humanity has this much military power. You wonder why we never told you. So I will explain. The display changed. It showed documents, records, reports. All of them were public, available to anyone who wanted to look. When humanity applied to join the Galactic Council 200 years ago, we submitted full documentation of our history. We included records of our wars, our weapons, our military capabilities. We hid nothing. But no one read it. You saw that we were currently at peace and assumed that meant we were weak. More documents appeared, applications for trade licenses, requests to build shipyards, permits for industrial facilities. Every single one had been approved by the council. We asked permission to build these facilities. You said yes. We asked permission to maintain a defense force. You said yes. We asked permission to conduct military exercises in our own space. You said yes. We followed every law. We broke no rules. You simply never asked what we were defending against. In the battle, the tide was completely one-sided now. Half the Valkyrian fleet was destroyed or disabled. The other half was trying to retreat. But the human ships had them surrounded. Admiral Tay gave his orders. Disable their engines. Take their weapons offline. But do not destroy any more ships unless they continue to fight. We have made our point. The human ships obeyed. They targeted engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. Valkyrian ships went dark, powerless but intact. Crews were alive but trapped. Commander Vrax watched from the council chamber, his pride as a Valkyrian warrior broken. They are showing mercy. Even now, when they could destroy us all, they are showing mercy. This is worse than defeat. This is humiliation. No, the Vorlon elder said softly. This is wisdom. They are showing that they could kill you but choose not to. They are showing strength and restraint at the same time. This is the mark of a truly powerful species. Overlord Thex sat on his command throne, watching his fleet die. His hands gripped the armrests so hard his claws cut into the metal. He could not accept this. He could not accept defeat from a species he had called weak. Open a channel to the human fleet, he ordered. Sir, perhaps we should surrender, his advisor suggested quietly. Never, Thex roared. He opened the channel himself. Human commander, this is Overlord Thex. You have won this battle. But if you think this is over, you are wrong. We will retreat. We will rebuild. And we will return. Admiral Tay's face appeared on Thex's screen. The human's expression was calm, almost sad. Overlord Thex, you came to our home. You attacked our people. You started this war. If you retreat now, we will follow. You wanted to see humanity? You wanted to test us? Now you have. And now we will show you the full cost of your decision. You dare threaten the Valkyrian Empire? Thex shouted. No, Tay said quietly. I am making a promise. Surrender now and this ends. Continue fighting and we will come to your worlds. We will show your people what you tried to do to ours. The choice is yours. But choose quickly, because in 1 hour my fleet begins moving toward Valkyrian space. The channel closed. Thex stared at the empty screen. His advisor spoke again, more firmly this time. Sir, we must surrender. We have already lost 300 ships. Our fleet is destroyed. If we go home, they will follow and destroy our colonies, maybe our homeworld. We have lost. We must accept it, Thex said nothing. He just stared at his screens, watching human ships move through space with terrifying efficiency. They were not even damaged. Not one human ship had been destroyed. It was a perfect victory. In the council chamber, species were already moving. The peaceful ones were sending messages to humanity, asking for forgiveness, promising friendship. The warrior species were quietly canceling their own plans to test humanity. Everyone understood now. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was the most dangerous species in the galaxy, made more dangerous because they had the discipline to choose peace. Day watched it all with tired eyes. This was what he had feared. Not the war, not the battle, but the fear he saw in the other species now. Humanity had wanted friends. Now they would have servants and subjects instead. What have we become? He whispered to himself. The Vorlon elder heard him and walked over. You have become what you needed to become to survive. Now you must decide what you will do with that power. That is the true test. On the battlefield, the last Valkyrian ships powered down their weapons. The battle was over. Humanity had won. But as Admiral Tay looked at the disabled ships and thought about what came next, he did not feel like celebrating. War was easy. Peace was hard. And now humanity would have to figure out how to make peace while the entire galaxy was afraid of them. Overlord Thex refused to surrender. He gathered what was left of his fleet and ran back toward Valkyrian space. He thought he would be safe there. He thought humanity would stop at their borders. He thought wrong. Admiral Tay stood in his command center, watching the Valkyrian retreat. All fleets prepare for deep space operations. We are going to Valkyrian territory. His officers looked at him with surprise. Sir, are we invading? No, Tay said firmly. We are ending this war properly. The Valkyrians need to understand that attacking humanity has consequences. If we stop now, if we let them go home and rebuild, they will try again in 10 years or 20 years. We end this now completely. Commander Quan led the human expeditionary force. He was a veteran of countless simulations and training exercises. Now he would finally use everything he had learned in real combat. His force consisted of 500 warships and 100 troop carriers. All ships jumped to Valkyrian space in 10 minutes, Quan ordered. Intelligence Officer High will brief us on targets. Officer High appeared on every ship's screen. She was young, but had been working in intelligence her entire adult life. For the past 30 years, I have been mapping Valkyrian space. I know every military base, every shipyard, every command center. I know their trade routes, their supply lines, their communication networks. Today we will use that knowledge. The Valkyrian leadership was panicking. Overlord Thex had returned home with only 150 ships left from his fleet of 500. Now human ships were appearing all over Valkyrian space, attacking 6 different worlds at the same time. How are they everywhere at once? A Valkyrian admiral shouted. How do they know where to strike? The answer was simple. Humanity had been preparing for this for decades. While the Valkyrians thought humans were weak and peaceful, human spies and intelligence officers had been quietly mapping their entire empire. Every military secret the Valkyrians had was already known to humanity. Captain Han commanded the Marine Assault Force. He was tall and strong, trained in every form of combat. His soldiers were the same. They had trained for years to fight alien species in alien environments. Remember your training, Han told his troops as they prepared to land on a Valkyrian military station. We are not here to kill civilians. We are here to destroy military targets and force surrender. Fight hard but fight clean. We are better than them. The assault was fast and brutal. Human Marines wore powered armor that made them faster and stronger. Their weapons were designed specifically to work in the conditions they faced. They had practiced this exact assault 1,000 times in simulations. The Valkyrian defenders fought bravely, but they had never faced anything like human Marines. Within 3 hours, the station was captured. Not one civilian was hurt. Only soldiers who refused to surrender were killed. This happened again and again across 6 worlds. Human forces struck with precision. They destroyed military targets but avoided civilian areas. They captured bases but did not massacre defeated enemies. They were brutal in combat, but showed mercy to those who surrendered. The Galactic Council watched it all in stunned silence. Ambassador Day stood at his station, his face unreadable. Ambassador Day, a council member said nervously, your species is invading another species' territory. This violates council law. Day turned to face them. His voice was cold. The Valkyrians attacked us. Where were you? Where was the council? You sat here and watched while they destroyed our ships and killed our people. You did nothing. So yes, we are violating council law, because council law did not protect us when we needed it. The chamber went silent. No one had an answer. Engineer Sung watched his siege platforms move into position around a Valkyrian industrial world. These were massive structures, each carrying weapons that could crack open a planet's crust. But Sung did not want to destroy the planet. He wanted to force surrender without killing millions of civilians. Power up the display systems, Sung ordered. Show them what we can do. The siege platforms activated. Massive beams of energy shot into empty space near the planet. They did not hit anything. They were just demonstrations. But the Valkyrians watching from the surface understood. Those beams could have hit their cities instead. Within an hour, the planet surrendered. The military forces laid down their weapons. Not a single civilian died. Officer Hai sent a message to all human forces. Our intelligence shows that the Valkyrians have been preparing weapons of mass destruction. Bioweapons, chemical weapons, nuclear weapons, all targeted at our colonies. These weapons are stored in 3 locations. I am sending coordinates. These targets are Priority 1. Human ships appeared above the weapon storage facilities. But before they could act, Overlord Thex made his most desperate decision. He sat in his throne room, broken and defeated. His empire was falling. Human forces were everywhere, and he could not stop them. In his rage and humiliation, he decided that if he could not win, he would make humanity pay the highest price possible. Launch the bioweapons, he ordered. Target the human colonies. All of them. If I must lose, I will take millions of them with me. His advisor looked horrified. Sir, that is a war crime. The Council does nothing! Thex screamed. Launch the weapons, now! 3 Valkyrian ships, specially equipped to carry biological weapons, launched from hidden bases. They moved toward human colonies carrying diseases designed to kill quickly and spread fast. But humanity had been preparing for this too. Warning sirens blared across every human colony. People ran to underground shelters. Automated defense systems came online. And most importantly, medical teams activated protocols that had been ready for decades. The Valkyrian weapons reached the colonies and released their deadly cargo. Diseases spread into the air. into the water, into the soil, and they died almost immediately. Humanity had developed countermeasures for every known biological weapon in the galaxy. Nanomachines in the air destroyed the viruses. Chemical scrubbers in the water neutralized the bacteria. UV barriers in the atmosphere killed anything that tried to spread. Only 3 people got sick. All 3 recovered within days. The Galactic Council received notification of the bioweapon attack at the same time humanity did. The chamber erupted in shouts and screams. Even the warrior species looked disgusted. Bioweapons were considered the most dishonorable way to fight. Ambassador Day's face appeared on every screen in the council chamber. His expression was cold, colder than anyone had ever seen. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but it carried absolute authority. The Valkyrian Empire has used biological weapons against civilian targets. This is a war crime of the highest order. The Council has 3 options. 1. Declare the Valkyrian leadership as war criminals and help us arrest them. 2. Do nothing and prove that the Council is useless. 3. Try to stop us and become our enemies as well. No one spoke. No one moved. I thought so, Dee said. The screen went dark. Admiral Tay received the news about the bioweapon attack. His calm expression finally broke. Anger flashed across his face. All forces converge on the Valkyrian homeworld. We are going to end this. Today. The human fleet appeared above the Valkyrian homeworld. 3,000 ships surrounded the planet. Every defense the Valkyrians had was either destroyed or overwhelmed. The planet was helpless. Captain Yuna's ship was at the front of the formation. Her weapons were armed and ready. One word from Admiral Tay and the entire planet could be destroyed, but that word did not come. Instead, Tay sent a message to the surface. Valkyrian people, your leadership has committed war crimes against humanity. They attacked our civilians with biological weapons. By law and by justice, we could destroy your entire planet, but we will not. Surrender your leaders to us for trial. Agree to peace terms. Do this in 1 hour, or we will take your leaders by force. On the surface, the Valkyrian people watched the sky, filled with human warships. They knew they had lost. More than that, they knew their leaders had led them into a war they could never win and then committed atrocities that made their defeat total. Within 30 minutes, Valkyrian civilians stormed the government buildings. They dragged Overlord Thex and his top commanders out. They called the human fleet and offered surrender. The war was over. Humanity had won completely. But as Admiral Tay looked at the defeated planet below, he felt no joy. Only the heavy weight of what came next. Send medical aid to the surface, he ordered. Send food and supplies. Show them that we are not monsters. Show them that humanity can be merciful. The galaxy watched and learned. Humanity was powerful enough to conquer, wise enough to show mercy, and patient enough to have planned for this day for 2 centuries. The question now was, what would humanity do with their victory? President Mina stood in her office on Earth looking at the reports from the war. The victory was complete. The Valkyrians were defeated. Their military was destroyed. Their leaders were captured. Humanity could do anything it wanted with them. That thought terrified her. She called a meeting with all the military commanders and ambassadors. Admiral Tay, Captain Yuna, Commander Kwan, Officer Hai, Captain Han, and Ambassador Day all appeared on her screens. We have won, Mina said. Now we must decide what kind of species we want to be. Do we want to be conquerors? Do we want to be feared? Or do we want to show the galaxy something different? Admiral Tay spoke first. Madam President, we have the power to destroy the Valkyrian homeworld. We have the power to conquer their empire. But if we do that, we become exactly what we fought against. We become the monsters. Agreed, Captain Yuna said. But we also cannot simply forgive and forget. They tried to exterminate us. They used bioweapons on civilians. There must be consequences. President Mina nodded. Yes, there must be justice. But justice is not the same as revenge. We will put their leaders on trial. We will demand reparations. We will limit their military. But we will not destroy them. We will show the galaxy that humans can be both strong and merciful. Ambassador Day smiled for the first time in weeks. That is who we are. That is who we have always been. We just forgot for a moment, in all the anger. The trial of Overlord Thex and his commanders was held on a neutral space station. Judges from different species presided. The evidence was overwhelming. Video recordings, witness testimony, intercepted communications. Everything proved that the Velcarians had started an illegal war and then used banned weapons when they started losing. Thex stood in the defendant's area, his proud scales now dull and gray. He looked broken. "I thought humans were weak," he said quietly when asked to speak. "I was wrong. I led my people into a disaster because of my pride and my stupidity. I deserve whatever punishment comes." He was sentenced to life imprisonment. His top commanders received similar sentences. But the Velcarian people themselves were not punished. Humanity made that very clear. President Mina addressed the Galactic Council in a historic broadcast. Species from every corner of the galaxy watched. "Humanity has won the war. We have proven that we are strong. But strength without wisdom is just violence. So today I announce humanity's peace terms." The terms appeared on screens everywhere. First, the Velcarian military would be limited. No more than 100 ships for defense only. Second, Velcarian leaders who committed war crimes would be tried and imprisoned. Third, the Velcarians would pay reparations to the families of those killed in the war. But the payments would be reasonable, not crushing. Fourth, Velcarian civilians would receive humanitarian aid from humanity to rebuild what the war destroyed. Fifth, in 50 years, if the Velcarians showed peaceful intentions, all restrictions would be lifted. The galaxy was stunned. They expected humanity to be harsh, to demand tribute, to take territory. Instead, humanity was showing mercy and offering help. But President Mina was not finished. She turned to address the council directly. For 200 years, humanity trusted the council to maintain peace. When we were attacked, the council did nothing. You watched while the Velcarians declared war on us. You watched while they attacked our colonies. You did nothing to help us. So today we are announcing new policies. The council members shifted nervously. Humanity will accept a permanent seat on the Council Security Committee. We will maintain our military at full strength. We will respond immediately to any species that attacks peaceful worlds, whether those worlds are human or not. And if the council refuses to act against aggressors, humanity will act alone. The chamber filled with whispers. Some species looked relieved. The peaceful ones especially seemed happy that someone would protect them. Others looked worried, afraid of humanity's power. The old Vorlon elder spoke up. "The Galactic Council accepts these terms. We have seen that humanity has both the strength and the wisdom to be a guardian of peace. We welcome you to this new role." 5 years passed. The galaxy changed in ways no one expected. Species that had been planning to attack their neighbors quietly canceled those plans. Why? Because they knew humanity was watching. They knew that if they started a war, human ships would appear. And no one wanted to face human ships. Small, peaceful species that had lived in fear for centuries suddenly felt safe. They knew that if they called for help, humanity would come. The Velcarians rebuilt their society. They elected new leaders who were peaceful and wise. They worked hard to pay their reparations and to prove they had changed. Humanity helped them, sending engineers and aid workers. Slowly, trust began to grow. Commander Nari, now an admiral, commanded the new Earth Defense Initiative. Her job was to watch the galaxy and respond to threats. She took the job seriously but not cruelly. She believed in peace, but peace backed by strength. Pilot Jin became a legend. Young pilots from every species studied his tactics. He trained new human pilots and shared his knowledge with allied species. He showed that humans were willing to teach, not just to dominate. Captain Han retired from the Marines and opened a school for peacekeepers from all species. He taught combat, yes, but also restraint and ethics. He taught that the goal of a warrior was not to win battles, but to prevent them. Ambassador Day became the first director of galactic security. He worked tirelessly to improve relations between species. He mediated disputes. He prevented wars before they started. He showed the galaxy that humanity's strength was matched by humanity's desire for peace. One day, 5 years after the war, a new crisis emerged. A species called the Krex attacked a small peaceful species called the Lumina. The Lumina had no military, no weapons, no way to defend themselves. They sent out a call for help. Humanity responded in 6 hours. Admiral Nari's fleet appeared above the Lumina homeworld. The Krex fleet was much larger, 200 ships against humanity's 100. But the Krex had heard the stories. They had heard what happened to the Velcarians. Nari sent them a simple message. "This is Admiral Nari of the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a peaceful species under Council protection. You have two choices. Leave now or face humanity's response. You have 10 minutes to decide. The Krex commander looked at his screens. He looked at the human ships. He remembered the stories of how the humans destroyed the Valkyrian fleet without losing a single ship. He remembered the recordings of human weapons and human tactics. He ordered a retreat. The Lumina were saved without a single shot being fired. This became the pattern. Aggressive species would threaten war. The victims would call for help. Humanity would arrive. The aggressors would leave. Peace was maintained not through fighting, but through the threat of fighting. Through the knowledge that humanity would respond and would win, the galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in 1,000 years. In a small cafe on Earth, the old Vorlan elder sat across from Ambassador Day. They had become friends over the years. "You know," the Vorlan said, "when I first met you, I was afraid. Afraid of what humanity would become. Afraid that your power would corrupt you. And now," Day asked, "now I am proud. Proud that I was alive to see humanity take its place among the stars. You could have become conquerors. You could have made the galaxy fear you. Instead, you became guardians. You became what every species should aspire to be. Strong enough to fight, wise enough to choose peace." Day smiled. "We learned from species like yours. We learned that true strength is not about dominating others. It is about protecting them. It is about using power to create peace, not to create empires." They sat in silence for a moment, watching humans and aliens walk by together on the street outside. "Different species, different worlds, all living in peace. Do you think it will last?" the Vorlan asked. "I think it will last as long as we remember the lessons we learned," Day said. "As long as we remember that peace requires vigilance, that freedom requires protection, that the strong have a duty to defend the weak. As long as we remember that, yes, it will last." Far away on the Valkyrian homeworld, a young Valkyrian child studied human history in school. She read about the war, about how humanity could have destroyed her people but chose mercy instead. She read about the trials, the fair treatment, the aid and reconstruction. When she grew up, she decided she would join the new Valkyrian human exchange program. She would learn from humans. She would help build the new friendship between their peoples. The war had ended 5 years ago, but its lessons would echo for generations. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not weak, that peace did not mean pacifism, that mercy was not the same as softness. They had learned that the most dangerous species was not the one that loved war, but the one that understood war so well that it chose peace instead. President Mina gave one final speech on the 5-year anniversary of the war's end. "5 years ago we were attacked. We proved we could defend ourselves. But more importantly, we proved we could win and still choose to be kind. We proved that strength and mercy can exist together. That is humanity's greatest victory. Not the battles we won, but the peace we built afterward." The galaxy listened, and the galaxy learned.